today's episode, we are going to be discussing Billy Carson's book, The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets.
So this is going to be a very special episode because we're going to be talking about the Emerald Tablets. This is a very amazing, magnificent piece of work that you have to read it if you haven't read it already. And I'm not just talking about the book, I'm talking about the actual Emerald Tablets by Thoth the Atlantean. So let's get into it.
Yeah, then the good thing about this book is that it has the Emerald Tablets in it, and just with Billy's interjections. And Billy is someone that has been researching this type of information for like 20 plus years, so he's definitely someone that is very reliable. He's actually an expert when it comes to ancient civilizations. You can find him on series on Gaia, like Deep Space, another show I think it's called Ancient Civilizations, as well as a host of other places. It's one of those books that you need to read multiple times because there's just like so much information in here.
Yeah, man, it's actually becoming one of Amazon's best sellers, so congratulations to my boy Billy, bro. You're blowing it up, you know?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, so what we want to talk about in this video is not just about the Emerald Tablets, but Thoth, of course, the man who is responsible, or the being that is responsible for creating the Emerald Tablets in the first place. So, like, who is Thoth?
So it is said that Thoth is the one that created the Emerald Tablets. He's said to be the wisdom, the god of wisdom.
He's the god of wisdom. So it seems like Thoth exists everywhere.
On earth, in heaven, and in all spaces in between. There are mythic creatures that can be associated with Thoth in nearly every single ancient civilization. Sometimes the line between what's real and what's just myth can be blurred, so there seems to definitely be a mystery surrounding who Thoth really is. Some believe he was a real person, a survivor of Atlantis, while other people believe he's an extraterrestrial. But one thing's for sure is that his existence can't be denied. He explains why he believes that Thoth is actually an alien, and he also has, you know, a good explanation in here of the term alien. And you know, so many people, when they hear the word alien, it's kind of like this foreign idea.
Little green man.
Yeah, but he puts it like in a way that's not as out there, you know, as you initially think it is.
Now, according to Zachariah Sitchin, who dedicated his entire life on translating the Sumerian clay tablets, when you start to learn about these Anunnaki beings in which the tablets talk about, Thoth, whose real name is Ningashira, is actually known to be one of the sons of Anki, okay? And if you don't know who Anki is, Enki, whose brother is also Enlil, they are the children of King Anu, who is like the king of all the Anunnakis, the king of Nibiru, if you will, Anunnaki. So Thoth is said to have been Ningashira, but we all know him as Thoth, right? So this man, this being, this Anunnaki, whatever, he plays a very key point in this civilization in terms of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a really key factor, he's a key figure in who we are as humanity. So he has a lot to do with the cradle of civilization and how we came to be, and, you know, agriculture, language, bro, everything in a sense. So
yeah,
very, very, very important key figure in all of this stuff.
Billy kind of insinuates that it's possible that Thoth could actually be Jesus or Yeshua or the son of Jesus. So if you want to dive deeper into that, because it's super interesting, get the book, recommend it. It's on chapter 2 if you already have it. I found that to be like super mind-blowing and like crazy.
Man, it's a whole different perspective in terms of Jesus or Yeshua, who this being was or who he was. There's a lot of similarities within the story of Jesus and the story of Thoth.
That's why the Emerald Tablets, that's a part of the reason why they're so important. The book brings into perspective and into light how the Bible's teachings are so similar to the contents of the Emerald Tablets, and how, you know, they can be so similarly interpreted. And let's remember that the Emerald Tablets predate the Bible.
First and foremost, the Emerald Tablets are said to have been written by Thoth 36,000 years ago. Okay? That's insane. The Bible is not even 2,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the stuff that's in the Bible has been taken from not only the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, but also the Enuma Elish, the 7 Tablets of Destiny, the Mahabharata, if I'm saying that correctly, and I believe a few other ancient scriptures out there. So all of this stuff, bro, It's insane. Everything that you read in the Bible, whether it's the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, the Tower of Babel, the Great Flood, all of these things,
all of those stories stems from somewhere
can be
else.
found from these ancient tablets that are older than the Bible. And if you talk about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, we're talking 36,000 years. Okay, that's a hell of a long time.
So if you're wondering what exactly are the Emerald Tablets, it's pretty much an ancient artifact that had been kept hidden, but its philosophy had been filtered down into many other writings. And it wasn't until Alexander the Great conquered Egypt that the knowledge of these tablets spread.
So the Emerald Tablets are said to have been constructed out of actual emerald stone, and they were alchemically fixed, meaning they cannot be destroyed by any known element within our reality. So they're indestructible in nature. They were written, I believe, either in cuneiform or Atlantean language or hieroglyphics.
I think it's hieroglyphics.
I think they were written in, Atlantean hieroglyphics.
So like we mentioned, the Emerald Tablets are so important because they are the basis of many religions and they predate many other ancient texts. They exposed many secrets and mysteries, which is why they were kept hidden, because they didn't want it to get in the hands of just anyone. So in this book, a lot of historical figures in the past that acknowledged the Emerald Tablets and studied them and had their own interpretations of them. He mentions some of them are St. Thomas Aquinas, Sir Isaac Newton, Roger Bacon, Professor Carl Jung. These are obviously a lot of names, big names that you guys have probably heard of before. So they were also aware of the Emerald Tablets and they studied it. So I think it's important, that they acknowledged it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm not sure if anyone has actually ever seen an original copy of the Emerald Tablets, but it's kind of like one of those things that we talked about. Like, it's like a mystery, but it's like its existence can't be denied because so many people across so many different places know of it. Yeah, and timelines, know of Thoth, know of these Emerald Tablets. So this is something definitely that is of importance to us in our existence.
Yeah, man, Thoth is known around the entire globe, and he's depicted in many different ancient sites. I mean, the fact that he had the capability of being in different parts of the world back then shows you that these beings were living with an advanced form of technologies that we still don't have today, obviously in the hands of the public anyways. So there's one paragraph that Billy writes in chapter 2, which is called The History of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, that I just wanted to read out loud because I feel like it's important. So it goes like this. It says, Thoth ruled Egypt at a time that far outpaces our present understanding of precisely how old Egyptian civilization is. Ruling Egypt for 16,000 years, from 50,000 to 36,000 BC. Thoth became the highest of highest priests in ancient Atlantis, trained by his own father, the master of masters of pre-Diluvian Atlantis, which is said to be Enki. This ruling occurred after the floods that devoured the ancient civilization. Thoth ascended to Earth, where he led the development of a new civilization in the northeast corner of Upper Africa, also named Kem, aka Egypt.
That makes sense with what I read about Thoth in another book. There's a person named Manetho, I think is how you pronounce the name, and it's crazy because his name literally means a gift of Thoth. He was one of the first people allowed access to these tablets, and he said that they were 9,000 years old and that they contained the sum of all knowledge. He also wrote a book himself called Sothis, and in that book he wrote, after the Great Flood, the hieroglyphic texts written by Thoth were translated from the sacred language into Greek and put in books in the sanctuaries of Egyptian temples. So he does mention a flood as well. It was translated from the sacred language to Greek, and didn't, I think Billy mentions that Thoth is Hermes.
This incarnation of Thoth. Remember guys, Thoth is beyond death and birth in a sense. Thoth has the ability to go into his rehabilitation metamorphosis chamber and switch bodies, like in the movie Avatar. He can move his consciousness from one body to another body, and therefore he's actually an immortal being. So Thoth is that guy.
Manetho, he also wrote that this magical book of Thoth, that it was kept in a locked box in the inner sanctuary of the temple at Hermopolis, and only one priest was entrusted with a key. So So that's just kind of like a brief little history of who is Thoth and what is the Emerald Tablets and why is this important information for everybody to kind of try to learn and just kind of dig deeper into, because you know it directly correlates to who we are and what we're doing here. One of the biggest topics that Billy covers in this book, which is one of the greatest mysteries, or can be identified as one of the greatest mysteries in the world, is about the pyramids of Egypt, right? And you know, like how they were built and by who, because a lot of people don't understand how back in those days those pyramids of that magnitude could even be built without the technology.
The fact that they're really making a huge chunk of the masses believe that slaves could build the pyramids is just ludicrous.
In the first tablet, pretty much Thoth claims that he was the one that built the pyramids and that he even encoded it with advanced knowledge.
Yeah, he says himself that he actually built the Great Pyramids over the portal that leads into the halls of Amenti.
He explains all about the pyramids and their purpose and all of that. So it's super informative and just very interesting, to say the least.
And just so you guys know, the information Billy provides in this book is not pseudoscience. It's actually backed by authentic, peer-reviewed science sources. This goes to show you that a lot of the stuff in this book is authentic stuff, guys. It's not just some fairy tale bullshit. This is real thing. This is real.
Remember, he's a researcher. He's been researching these topics for a very long time. He's like an expert on this, you know, ancient civilization type stuff. And he provides resources. Like everything he says has its resource of like where you can go and look into it yourself, research it yourself, draw up your own conclusions. So yes, it's a really good resource, and just in case anybody thinks it's all like make believe and stuff, get the book. This is why you need the book. We're trying to like tell you all of the stuff that he covers in here because you need to know this information.
Just so you guys know, Angeli and I actually know Billy on a personal level. We can attest that he's the real deal. He is who he says he is. He's got the knowledge he says he's got. He's done the research he says he's done. So like, this man is authentically who he is. You know, there's a lot of bullshit out there in the internet that claim he's a CIA shell or all this crap, that he's a fucking extraterrestrial or a reptilian. Bro, we know Billy personally. Yeah. He's not only a really good friend of ours, but he's also my music partner, and we've known each other for years, and we know each other on a personal level. Like, we're like family at this point.
He's definitely very trustworthy.
Yeah,
reliable.
He's legit. He is who he says he is. So don't believe in all these bullshit lies out there about him, because they're just lies. You gotta understand.
It's just hate, unfortunately.
It's just hate. You have to understand that when you get as big as how Billy has become, with a big ass following that he's got, you're gonna have people who are trying to take down people like Billy within the conscious community, because he's doing things right. He's doing things to expose a lot of stuff to the masses. So there's a lot of haters out there that don't want that done. So obviously they're going to create stories, and if you're gullible enough to believe it, you're going to start believing it. So just know that we can attest this man is the real deal.
In the book, he goes on to explain with much detail about this matrix we're living in, this pattern, all about the third dimension, holographic universe. All of these things are mentioned by Thoth in the second tablet, so he kind of like goes into detail on what he meant. And yeah, so if you want that breakdown, because it's a good one, you need this book. And just for the record, these concepts were extremely dangerous to say up front and out loud back in the Middle Ages. So yes, they were very controversial subjects that could have gotten you killed, because the information in the Emerald Tablets explains that the Word of God can be projected into our reality, kind of like a computer program, instead of directly participating in our world. So this concept didn't mean that they didn't believe in God, but that they sought to reveal and perfect the original divine light in everything. And this is the nature of this work: as above, so below; as within, so without. Everything begins below in the duality of matter, which goes like deeper into alchemy. That's what the Thoth was, an alchemist, right? He was like one of the first alchemists. So learn alchemy.
We're all alchemists.
Yeah.
We're just different levels of this mastery.
Yeah, but like you mentioned before, like that whole little history you gave of the Anunnaki and everything. It said that the Anunnaki genetically modified existing humanoids on this planet to increase our DNA capacity.
If you really want to get into this stuff, the Anunnaki...
It's too deep.
It is very deep, and there's so much information to even give you in a nutshell. Damn, I don't even know how to get into this.
It's too
long.
deep. It's too deep.
It's very deep.
In the book, he kind of goes into the Anunnaki and their role in, you know, genetically modifying the existing humanoids that were already on this planet, and how they purposely tried to like shut down a certain part of our DNA, and it's kind of like what's considered our junk DNA, and like how it was purposely, we were purposely like disconnected from that.
Yeah, so that we don't realize the true potential and surpass them, because we actually already surpassed the Anunnakis in numbers. We outnumber them, but they're more powerful, more intelligent, more understanding of the universe than we are. So they shut off those aspects of our DNA so that we don't remember, that we don't know it. In a sense, they initially created us because they wanted to create a slave race to mine gold for them. And when the Ijiji, which are known as another extraterrestrial race, which were pretty much enslaved by the Anunnakis who were mining for them, when they rebelled against the Anunnakis and were pretty much obliterated and almost destroyed and brought to an extinct level of society, I guess you could say, the Anunnaki created a slave race to do it for them, which were us. They created us out of their own genetic material and the existing hominids of the earth at that time. And they are the ones who created us Homo sapiens, or sapiens sapiens. And that's just like the gist of the story, but there's way more to it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
So you guys know, we're not getting paid to promote this book.
We just really like it. I read it twice.
Not only that, but this is like for beginners. It's a beginner's guide. This is why, you know, Billy is a fucking genius for creating this book, because in a time that we are in today, where the earth is awakening to spiritual truths and realities and concepts, you need to understand these things, okay? You need to read these things. You know, there's a lot of videos of it on YouTube.
Imagine,
of course,
like, you don't have to go into it and like try to do it yourself and try to decode and learn all of the symbolisms. Man. Like, someone literally has taken like years of research and put it into this nice little package, so that you can kind of do it yourself. And it's so easy. If you want to look at the resources where he got this information from, he provides that.
Look, Eric von Däniken himself even wrote, "I am so impressed with your work and your research. It was a pleasure." I mean, that's a pretty big guy in this community. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. He's wrote many books, and he's highly, highly intelligent and informed in these subjects as well. So, look, man, Billy, you're doing your thing, bro. Congratulations, bro, for writing this amazing book. There's so many people around the world today that are actually purchasing this beginner's guide of the Emerald Tablets. Even celebrities are posting it and reposting it on Instagram and anywhere in social media. So that's amazing. That goes to show you that the world is awakening and people are starting to gravitate towards this type of information. So it's truly interesting and intriguing, to say the least. Like, guys, if you haven't gotten into the Emerald Tablets, I suggest you start reading these tablets for yourself.
It's like a must.
These tablets were actually said to have been written in 100 levels of consciousness. Now, what does that mean exactly? That means that you can read all of these tablets once, read it again and again and again, and 5 months from now, read it again, and you'll always learn something new and get something different out of it.
Depending
it's amazing,
what level you're on.
Yeah, it depends what level of awareness you're at currently as you're reading it. 6 months from now, as you gain more awareness.
Something, like when you read it again and you understand more, you're on a different level, it like something else makes more sense and like gets brought into light.
So what we were saying earlier, how Thoth claims to have built the pyramids of Egypt, right? He says that he actually built the Great Pyramid of Giza above the portal that leads to the Halls of Amenti. Now, the Halls of Amenti, when you first start reading about it, it can get a little confusing. You don't really understand, so what is this place? Like, it's basically, I guess you could say, a higher dimensional realm within the earth, right? So, like, it is said that who dwells in this Halls of Amenti is the dweller of Undal, who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually another interpretation of that being is Anki himself. I spoke with Billy about that, and he actually told me that the dweller of Undal is Anki. Like, all of these beings are supposedly in the Halls of Amenti. Not only that, but the Metamorphosis Chamber, where they go and they stay there for hundreds of thousands of years as well.
Crazy.
It's like the Halls of Amenti, I guess you could say, it's mind-blowing. And if you haven't heard the song Halls of Amenti by your boy Donnie Arcade, Forbidden Knowledge, Richard Wagner, it's a little shout out of it.
In the book, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in this book, you'll see the Halls of Amenti song. Guys, the song has gone viral. The music video has over 180,000 views on YouTube already. We recorded this and put it out on basically New Year's of 2017, so it's been a while. I mean, the song is dope. and it goes into the halls of Amenti as well. And so we actually plan on creating more songs about each tablet as well coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, the halls of Amenti, there's so many things about it that is written about in this book, and obviously we don't want to give away too much information about it because you need to go read it, bro.
Even if we tried, we couldn't. I read like the first 5 pages and I was already like mind blown. So much, every sentence has so much information.
You got to start doing some research because this book, you have to understand more
we're
of what's in this
barely scratching the surface of the depth that the book goes into.
Right, and mind you, we've been reading the Emerald Tablets already for a couple of years at this point. We've gotten introduced to it, how many years ago? I would say at least 3 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been reading the Emerald Tablets over and over.
I know, when I first read it, I thought it was like demonic because it kept saying like going underworld in the darkness. I'm like, what?
Bro, you have to learn how to decode this information. Don't take it so literal. You know, there's a lot of stuff written in symbolism and analogies and concepts and shit like
the
that.
underworld, and I'm just like,
yeah, it doesn't mean hell. Just
no,
so you know,
you have to, exactly like what you said, you have to have like occult knowledge, and it's always gonna mean different things every time you go back to it.
And the Emerald Tablets were translated in Old English, so you know what I mean. It's a little challenging for certain people to read it, but guys, read it over and over and over again until it makes sense.
Just see what comes up.
Yeah, man, see what you get out of it. Like Thoth says in the tablets, if the light is within you, these actual words in the tablets themselves are designed to awaken you to many more levels of truth within yourself. So, the light is within you, you will resonate. Trust me.
Thoth talks about, he says like these specific names to say that kind of give off like a vibrational frequency that can have an effect on human consciousness.
So according to Thoth, there are 6 words or names, if you will, that we can verbalize and express, right? That can actually help alleviate us or release us from negativity. These words are said to hold high frequency within them. So work with me here. We're going to try and really say, hopefully we're saying it correctly. So, Untanas, Quertas, Chital, Guyana, Goyana, Hortal, Semveta, Ardal. If you repeat these at least 3 times, all 6 of them 3 times
like
in a row.
The book says like repeat this when you feel like you need like a pick me up, like
exactly
a shift in vibrational frequency. Supposedly,
Goyana.
In the book, he details the studies that show that vibrational frequencies do have effects on human consciousness, and then it goes into talk about semantics, because semantics are something that's very similar to that. You know, semantics is the study of sound. It's vibration made visible. And the book touches also on those that worked and researched semantics very deeply. Because we just recently went to Coral Castle on your birthday. And supposedly it was like all created through semantics, right?
Yeah. What was his name? Little Edward? Little Edward, man. That guy was like 5 foot tall.
Yeah, they had like a little like statue of like how big he was, and it's crazy. He had no help making all of.
He created the whole thing by himself. It said that he just by whistling a specific frequency, he was able to levitate these corals and put them together and shape them into different shapes. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's beautiful. The energies of that place was dope. You know, getting to see where he lived, how he slept, and everything. The fact that it survived all these hurricanes. Like, bro, it's amazing. I think Coral Castle is a dope site. If you haven't been there, go check it out. It's in Homestead, Florida. Go take that trip. So the 6 words that we just mentioned, Thoth explains right here. He says, "See ye not that the names have the power to free by vibration the fetters that bind?" Initially saying, do you not see that these 6 words, if you express them out there, they have the power within the frequency itself to free you of the darkness and negativity that is binding your mind in this moment, is keeping you at a lower frequency. Just simply say these 6 words, and you will free yourself and lift your vibration back up.
Look, these are the people that study semantics. Galileo.
Semantics, baby, no end.
Oops, I've been saying semantics like an idiot. I meant semantics. Semantics, not semantics, my bad. But yeah, these are all like the people that studied it. Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo.
So what I find pretty dope about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth is that he talks also about astral projection. And if you ever need assistance on astral projecting, if you're in a meditative state, you're at the threshold, you're about to do it. If you say the words Do, Re, Lila, it'll give you access not only in astral projection, but going beyond the sky itself into the higher realms of light. So Dori Lila, Dori Lila, Dori Lila. Dori Lila to the sky. That's what I say in my song, in the Halls of Amenti, in my verse. We mentioned a lot of stuff about the book.
So make sure to get your copy, check it out. It's very valuable. We dedicated a video to it because we think that it's really good work, that everybody needs to have it. It's very convenient, all of this information right here in this little book. So yes, so definitely you need a copy, everyone does.
Yo, one of the best sellers on Amazon. That shit ain't no joke.
Yeah, like it's not a bestseller for nothing.
Word up. Alright guys, so that concludes episode 8, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. We really appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Billy, for creating such a great book for everybody.
Absolutely, we appreciate you, brother. And yeah, guys, keep shining, keep expanding your mind, keep reading all these other ancient texts out there like the Numa Elish, the 7 Tablets of Destiny, Zachariah Sitchin's hundreds of books which are translated into Sumerian and Babylonian clay tablets. Bro,
Hundreds of books.
Yo, there's so much shit out there, guys. So much information on YouTube, in books, in the libraries, everywhere. So stop being lazy. Get up, get out, expand your consciousness. So yeah, guys, we love you unconditionally. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe, comment, share, like, share with the world. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Holla!